The Constitution of the United States promises us the right of freedom of speech and the freedom to exercise our religion. But many police officers lately have been trying to shut us down as open-air preachers. In fact, many of us have even been arrested and have been brought to jail simply for preaching the gospel in public areas. For example, we've spoken and have had hostility from police on public streets and public parks, public festivals, and public campuses and universities. Now, these police officers are simply responding to phone calls that they receive from regular citizens. So apparently here in America, there's even regular citizens who are hostile towards Christians, engaging in freedom of speech and exercising their religion. I've heard many students, as I've preached on campus, tell me, you should not be allowed to do this. This should be illegal. They should kick you off campus. Now, just recently I received a message from a journalist student who wanted to do an interview with me about freedom of speech. I gave her the following answers to these questions. Do you ever think that you use freedom of speech in an abusive way or even go too far? What do you feel the benefits of freedom of speech are? Where is the boundary of going too far with freedom of speech? Is there even a boundary for such a privilege? What is the point of freedom of speech? Is it supposed to sway others or merely make a point that the privilege is there? Why do you come to public places such as universities to preach? To show off your privilege or to make a point? Do you even think that what you say might be going too far? Well, first and foremost, we need to understand that freedom of speech is not a privilege, it's a right. You see, the questions that this journalist student asked me referred to freedom of speech as a privilege. But a privilege is something that somebody else gives you, which you do not have to have, and which they can freely take away without any injustice being done. But a right is something that is essential, something that you are entitled to. A privilege is not something that you are entitled to. But the American Constitution classifies freedom of speech as a right that has been endowed to us by our Creator, an inalienable right, something that is not dependent upon the permission of a government or the permission of any other individual, but something that our Creator has given us. So first and foremost, we need to understand that freedom of speech, while it is something that our government in America allows, it is an inalienable right given to us by our Creator. Do you ever think that you use your freedom of speech in an abusive way or even go too far? I personally use my freedom of speech to make my religious views available to the general public for their consideration. This is not taking freedom of speech too far. In fact, it's the very reason that our forefathers even made such an amendment. You see, in a tyranny, the people are not allowed to think for themselves. Tyrants do not tolerate opposing or competitive views. But freedom of thought is essential for a free society, and you cannot have freedom of thought without freedom of speech. And so therefore, freedom of speech is absolutely essential to a free society. If we are not allowed to make our religious views known, or to bring to the public our religious views that may be deemed controversial or even offensive to others, then we do not truly live in a free society. As long as America is going to remain free, as long as the United States is going to be at liberty, we need to have the freedom of speech to make our religious views known, no matter how controversial or offensive they might be to others. What do you feel the benefits of freedom of speech are? There are many benefits to free speech, but one of the greatest benefits of having your speech protected is that you can speak your mind without having any fear of prosecution or persecution from the reigning courts or the ruling authorities. The First Amendment was designed to protect offensive speech. You see, if the only speech that was protected was the speech that everybody liked, there would be no need to have an amendment protecting it at all. The amendment protects the speech that people would want to shut down, that people don't want to hear. Now there's tyrants who don't want the views of others to be known, and that's why it's absolutely essential that we have this First Amendment, which gives us the right, the inalienable right of freedom of speech. Speech that is offensive is the precise reason that we have the First Amendment. Where is the boundary of going too far with freedom of speech? Is there even a boundary for such a privilege? First and foremost, free speech is not a privilege that's been given to us by a government. Freedom of speech is an inalienable right given to us by our Creator, which just so happens to be recognized by our American government. But speech should be as unlimited as possible. There are, of course, reasonable limits. For example, fighting words are not legal. Fighting words would consist of any type of language that's designed to provoke another person to violence. And the same applies to inciting a riot. Back in the 1960s, there were radical liberals who would give speeches to the masses designed to provoke the public to rioting. But this type of speech is not protected by American law. But say there's a preacher who's preaching and sharing the Bible and sharing his religious views, and the crowd or the audience actually reacts violently towards him. Now, if this was not the design of the preacher, then he has not broken any laws. It's the violent crowd that is breaking the law, but not the one who's exercising his free speech. And the police in this situation are obligated to either maintain or arrest the crowd, but not to arrest the one who's exercising his rights. You see, a crowd do not have veto power over our constitutional rights. In fact, the courts have already ruled in the Supreme Court that hecklers do not have any veto power over our constitutional rights. What is the point of freedom of speech? Is it supposed to sway others or merely make a point that the privilege is there? The purpose of freedom of speech is to secure liberty within a society. Again, freedom of thought is essential to a free society, and freedom of speech is essential to freedom of thought. But if a government controls what can and cannot be taught, then the government is trying to control what you can and cannot believe. This is a form of brainwashing. If they do not allow thoughts to enter into your mind which conflict and oppose their own views, then you're not a free individual and you're not in a free society, but you're under their tyrannical control. Why do you come to public places such as universities to preach? To show off your privilege or to make a point? I travel the country and preach on university campuses to make my religious views available to the general public. Now, nobody is forced to attend our meetings. Nobody is required to come and listen, but all are free to do so if they so choose. You see, diversity of thought and the exposure to the worldviews of others is absolutely essential to a real academic atmosphere. But my objective in preaching is to present the truths which are calculated to influence a person's free will to submission and surrender to God. You see, the contemplation that God is holy and He's therefore going to punish the wicked in hell for eternity, and the thought that God is loving and therefore provided an atonement through Jesus Christ through which we could be forgiven, are truths which ought to have a real moral power and a moral influence over our hearts and minds. Now, because the truth is valuable, and because God is worthy to be served, and because I don't want sinners to go to hell, I preach the truths in public which are necessary for the salvation of their souls. Do you even think that what you say might be going too far? The way that I preach is not going too far, either in regards to the standards that are laid out in the Bible or in the standards laid out in the laws of the land. My motive is benevolent. My methods are both biblical and legal. You see, I'll use signs, banners, and t-shirts all to arrest the attention of the general public. I'll use language and topics that are designed to arrest their attention and to engage them in dialogue and to debate. Now, we do not use fighting words. I do not try to incite riots, but I will use language and topics which will arrest their attention and provoke them to thought and to debate. Now, my target audience is those who disagree with me. I don't need to reason and persuade those who already agree. So therefore, I'll use controversial issues and politically incorrect topics which are relevant to the Bible and relevant to the salvation of their souls in order to provoke them to discussion and to debate and to dialogue. Now, what we say and how we say it is both biblical and legal. It's calculated and strategic. I pray that my answers in this interview were helpful in conveying how important freedom of speech really is, especially the protection of offensive speech, as it is essential to real liberty and freedom. And it is my prayer that other believers in Jesus Christ will be emboldened to take the gospel to where it really belongs, and that's to the sinners in the streets, to take it out into the open air. You see, never in history has a country had so many rights and freedoms and liberties as America has had. And that's why Christians and the church should be spreading the gospel like never before. But know this, the surest way to lose your rights is to simply fail to exercise them.
In the beauty of